Okay, so welcome to another in the No Frills series of videos. This one explaining what we refer to as a pin. It should be a short video, this one, because it's a pretty simple, theory or logic to what a pin is. I've set a couple up on the board. I haven't set this board up in any particular sort of order. I've just put some pieces in place so that I can explain three scenarios of what we call a pin, and on the last scenario I'll show how it can be useful to use. So the first one is to do with this queen. So let me just rotate my board here and give you a better view. So you can see this knight here, because knights in 4 Kings 1 War get what we call double hops, or they have a range of a double hop, so they can do an L shape twice. It only counts as one move. This knight here has got a hop here that's on that queen, and then if that queen wasn't there, it would be threatening the king, and that would be a check. Now you can't double hop off a piece. If your own piece is in the way, you have to move it to use that transit square, which is the first square that you touch down on. If it's an enemy piece, you just have to take it. But this knight's got into this position here, so that queen is now essentially pinned. Reason being is if I just move that off for a second, you can see that this check has opened up. The reason that's in check is because boom, boom, I've exposed that knight's range of a double hop. And of course, in chess logic, you can never ever put your king in check. You can't castle through check, can't castle out of check, or ever expose your king to check. So in order for that queen to move off that square, you would first have to move your king, and then of course your queen's free to move and there's no check. So that's a pin on the queen. If I come over here, you've got another pin going on here, similar sort of scenario, this time with a bishop. This queen is here. It's the same principle. This bishop cannot move off the square, because if it does, what it's doing is opening up that that king to check. So before that bishop can move off that square, you'd first have to move the king out of the way. I'm going to leave it there for a second because I've got another example to show you, and then you can move your bishop. So that's another pin. Here's an interesting example, and it happens quite a bit. This bishop here. If I opened up this pawn 1, 2 or 3 squares, because of course in 4 Kings 1 War pawns can move 1, 2 or 3 squares, but let's just say I open that up, that bishop is essentially now pinning for the same reasons that queen, because if I move that queen out, you can see that opens up a check. Can't do that. You can't put your king in check. So what my opponent would have to do is first move the king out of the way, then move the queen to safety. If there were pawns here, all they'd have to do is just move the pawn forward and block it. That's why I removed these pawns, because quite often in the game these pawns have fallen to some collateral damage and been taken out. So in this scenario, there's no pawns to move forward to block it. So what I could do is, I've done that. I've threatened the queen, knowing that the queen cannot move out of the way until they move the king first. And then where this becomes useful is it creates 3s into 2s, because you've got this knight sitting here. All I'd have to do is, sorry, let me just improve my view so I can actually do that, is move my bishop there, and now that bishop is on that knight. So my opponent, that's my 2 turns, moving my pawn out of the way, exposing my bishop onto that queen, and of course the king behind it, and putting this bishop onto this knight. So that's my 2 moves. My opponent's turn, they've got a choice. They can either move their king out of the way and then move their queen to safety, therefore losing their knight, or if they had, like I said, if they had a pawn, they could move a pawn in the way, or they can move their knight and leave their queen. I wouldn't personally. What I would probably do in this scenario, given the value of the knight in 4 Kings 1 War is valued 7 next to the queen at 9, because of their double hop, their range of a double hop makes them such a lethal piece. I know I'm going to lose something if I was playing in the black situation. In fact, let me just flick that around so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm thinking, okay, this bishop's on my knight, that bishop's on my queen. What am I going to do? I don't want to lose my queen, and I certainly don't want to lose my knight. So I would sacrifice a 4-point piece like that. I'd put that in front of the bishop, and then I'd move my my knight to safety, probably threatening that queen, and that would be my responding turn. Of course, they're just going to come in and take that, and probably would have to move their queen out the way from this knight's, just to show you this knight's double hop. So what they would have to do is probably go something like this, and then of course that queen would go, thank you very much, I'll return the favour and put you in check. So that's probably how that would play out. But anyway, that's what we call a pin. Pretty simple philosophy there. And knights are really good for it, but they're not exclusively sort of reserved for knights. There's lots of different scenarios. So I hope that made sense. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks again for watching. Again, if you like this video, nice short one, give us a thumbs up. If you've got any questions, post it in the comments, and I'll get back to you. And if there's any other sort of scenarios in the game that you want to see explained a little bit more, let me know, and I'll put a video together. But until then, thanks for watching.